Where did it
What is that?
originally come from?
Yeah,
What's the
explain
original
to me what that really is,
cultivar?
please.
Because whoever that landed in either was fated as fuck that came up with that title or that name. Sometimes they're like super long. But
That's all right. Look, people, let's let people get creative with their shit, you know? Hey, as long as they have some kind of lineage they can back it up with, then so be it.
yeah, which I will say, I will appreciate that it did have the cultivars listed on there. So
Bingo.
that
There
was
you go.
nice. And it was nice that the bud tender was very informative about what temperature was best for from his experience. And that was nice to hear from somebody in
Hell
a,
yeah.
you know what I
Listen
mean?
to
I'm
your
like,
local bud
okay.
tender.
Yeah, shout out to Catalyst. They're doing a great job.
Oh,
It
I
was
love them dudes.
yeah, the closest one to our area, and the prices beat pretty much even the local, like I'm pretty sure temp license ones that I'm like, I'm not sure about this. They do a great job about supporting, I think, the traditional route, the legacy of the brand of the cannabis industry, but also bringing out the new ones that they do believe that there's good intentions behind. So
Yep. I have never been to a Catalyst because I'm obviously on the other side of the fucking world, kind of in Atlanta. So, but obviously I follow closely because they have a lot of good things to say, and a lot of truth going on over there. So it's just, it's cool to keep up with what they're doing. And I do see a lot of them. I do see them pulling in a lot of, people, right? It's definitely about the community over there, which is dope.
yep. Tender did, even say that they do their best to hire people within that particular city in that zone. So where I'm sure he's doing it in all the catalysts that he's, and I can't appreciate that even more because
Yep.
you just
Speak
know
that
your people.
language.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
You speak the
And
local
you know
language.
what brands to push to what kind of people that walk in, from a 60-year-old with chronic pain to
100%.
somebody who just enjoys some really good flower like myself on a daily, or somebody that's just kind of curious, just wants to do the edibles, having the variety is really cool to see in there. But
100%.
let's get into it. It's Friday, so I don't want to take too much of your time. We want to appreciate everybody that for joining in today. We have another guest on for our Rich Soil podcast. Dustin, welcome. It's been a long time. I've been wanting to get you on here, so thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I've been wanting to be here. I've been following along for a minute. So definitely cool to be here. Thanks.
Appreciate it. I appreciate that. I see you have some of those dope magazines. I
Yes.
can say one, thank you for featuring me in, I think it was the 420 month edition. I don't know. I know it's for 420, but I think that came out for April and you highlighted amazing set of women in there, which I think I've seen you kind of do in almost all of your editions. There's got to be one or two that you're highlighting. So much respect to you guys and the team and what you guys do there highlighting the
Yeah,
women in the
absolutely.
space. But yeah, what's up? What's going on? Tell me more about it. I know you've been in the industry for a long time, but I wanted to get you on here so that people can be more familiar with who you are and the face behind FNM. Did I say that right? Fat Nugs
Yeah,
Magazine.
FNM. Hell yeah.
Fat Nugs
Hey,
Magazine.
anytime you can come up with an acronym, right? That's a
Yes.
good, I think that's what that's called, right? FNM.
Yep. Yep.
So, again, thanks for having me on and thanks for seeing the magazines in the background. We actually released the travel edition today. It's been really fun. So I've had a lot of, excuse my voice, I've had a lot of conversations today since about 8:30 this morning. So,
Bet.
it's been really cool. So, just a quick background. We
Wait.
do,
Wait,
yes.
before we get into that, I have to ask because I always ask my guests about morning routines, and I know we're in our afternoon here in SoCal, but I forgot. Let's talk about your morning afternoon because I have
Yeah.
to ask, what is a hippie speedball?
It's just coffee and weed. That's all it is. Whether you're ripping a bong and drinking coffee or whether you're smoking a joint with your coffee, which is what I do, that's a hippie speedball, right? That's just kind of what it is. You get stoned and you get a little jittery at the same time.
Did you make that up yourself?
No, it's been around a long time.
Really? Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's been around a long time.
that's classic. Okay, that tells me how long cannabis has been part of your life since we transitioned into that.
No
But
doubt. No
like,
doubt.
if we were to extract that, do you have fitness? Only because
Yeah.
I have a fitness background, and part of my podcast is highlighting how creative the cannabis industry is and having different type of artists in the industry. But we also have people in the industry that are very, very much part of the wellness community and the holistic athletic side of things. So do you come from sports background? What, do you have any fitness that you still do now?
Yes. So my entire life has been spent in sports. I played college. I played all throughout high school. I played college sports. I played volleyball at Georgia Southern. Um, and yes, I'm still in the gym on a regular basis. I climb, I hike, I bike, that kind of stuff. My morning routines are really just my hippie speedballs, to be honest with you, and some fruit and nuts. That's pretty much what I have for breakfast. I then go to the gym and do my thing. And it's, weight training and stretching. And every once in a while I try to do yoga and my girlfriend laughs at me, but that's pretty much my routine these days.
I'm in the same boat. And I think a lot of people who do weight training have a hard time finding their flow in that slow motion. I will say it's intense as fuck. I give it to them. My respects, hats to them. Pilates is the same thing for me. But yeah, I'm still learning my love for yoga, bodybuilding, weight training, hit anything that's in a fast, rapid constant movement is my jam. I come from mixed martial arts. So yeah, I think it's really interesting that a lot of people in the cannabis industry have some sort of sports background.
Or a music
volleyball.
background, or there's all those types of things. I swear you're right. Sports and the creative stuff in this industry intersect a lot. They really do.
100%. And volleyball is not off something you hear often for men to play. So that must have been really, really challenging and different, because I would say it's like woman dominated. You don't get too many volleyball players. Well, I mean,
it depends.
I'm not too familiar with volleyball.
Yeah, well, it depends on where you're located in the country. So in the Northeast, volleyball is dominant. It's like lacrosse is dominant, in the Northeast. And same out west, California, there's, everybody's got a fucking volleyball team in college. Yeah. But here, even in the South, there's men and women's volleyball teams. But you're absolutely right. I think more of the coverage is on the woman's side or the women's side of the sport. It's been a long time since I've played volleyball. I would probably throw my shoulder out. But
it's an intense sport. I have respect for them. I watch them on the beach, and they have tournaments out here in the Huntington area. Yeah, and we can watch them, and they get down. It's like
I could never. I would kill myself these days. I'm not kidding. It's running in the sand. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Really
carry my cooler in the sand.
Yeah, having going to the beach nowadays is different for me. I have 2 kids, and so the whole idea of like going to the beach and just chilling out and doing what you want has totally changed, because it's like, got to bring the wagon, got to bring the tent, got to make sure we don't lose a child. If they're potty training, it's all fun stuff.
You brought your living room with you. You're one of those, huh? I'll just bring a chair. Right. Well, don't get me wrong. I bring a chair, a towel, and a cooler. That's usually, well, I can't lie. I have an umbrella because I burn these days. Yeah. Oh, God, so anyway.
Don't burn too much. Sometimes I do. My husband. Okay, so not to veer too far into that, and then we'll jump into your story as far as how you got to where you are now. I also asked mentorship. Is there anybody that was a mentor in your life or kind of led you to where you are now? Your answer, out of all the people I've kind of interviewed or had so far, it was more similar to my answer, I would say, not actually having a direct, I always call them like motivational or a mentor from afar, where they wouldn't even know that I would consider them a mentor. Right. So tell us who you listed.
Yeah, I believe if I'm not mistaken, it was Kurt.
Yep.
So he's Kurt Cobain. Sorry. So I say Kurt like he's my fucking friend and people know it. Like,
we should probably inform them. Where I was just going to throw in his logo on the front of your
right
video now.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I never really had anyone around in my life stable wise from a male perspective. And when I got into my early teens, around 91-ish, 92-ish, I believe it was Kurt, I started to hear, and I was like, oh shit. And so I dove into more, and that was really who I looked up to and kind of guided the way that I lived, as far as the things that I thought, or the way that I approached government, the way that I approached mainstream things in society, music. It made me learn all of the music that I know these days. I've played in bands since 97 or 98, I believe it is. And I've written and released 3 albums on my own. So he guided much of my creative spirit, especially early on in my life. No one else really did that. It was kind of people in and out of my life, and I took from them. Don't get me wrong, and I learned from them, and I learned from my dad, and I've learned from my stepdads and my brother and that kind of stuff. I have a very large family, but it was always Kurt that I kind of idolized.
Yeah, resonated, had a connection in some sort of way. You heard, I think you heard through his music, he was obviously a lyrical genius with everything he's written. So I can totally understand and respect that. And you did list 2 more people, kind of touch on that.
So there were a couple of guys, Beard Brothers, when I first came into the industry, into the legal side of the industry. They sort of gave me a chance, hooked me up with a guy named Alex, pop off, by the way. And we wrote a piece together, got to know him, got to know Bill and Jeff. And those dudes were sort of instrumental in me being able to have a voice, to be honest with you. And we're obviously still connected to this day. We just got off a call, I think it was last week, as a matter of fact, with both of them and some folks on my team. So those guys for sure.
That's dope. It's great to have a solid team and people that believe in your vision. It's hard to really, one, I don't really care what people have to say as far as my vision, but those who actually are there to hear you and actually encourage you to keep moving forward, to continue what you see come to life and be genuine about their support is really hard to find in today's world. So that's,
and those guys have never asked for anything back. And we've just had conversations, right? Which has been really cool. But when you say team, the team that I have here, and hopefully we can talk about them here a minute, because they are the ones that really help me get this thing going. Without them, this thing doesn't exist. Period.
Don't know them all, but I know 3 of them, and they are quite the force. So congratulations to you, because I am looking forward to see how far you guys go. I mean, today's edition itself, that piece, that front cover, everything you guys do with the art, everything, I'm signed up for the newsletters, and when I get those are just as good, but to have them like in my hands, we're going to dive into that. It's just great what you've done to really get it out there, and what you're doing as far as who you're highlighting in the actual pieces. Fantastic. So obviously cannabis has been a part of your life for a really long time. Tell me how that started and kind of where it got you to FNM today, and just kind of the bundle of how we got started.
Yeah, I'll give you like a quick linear story that I have this conversation a lot these days, because really it's what represents the magazine in its fullest capacity, right? The magazine itself is sort of a reflection of everything I've been a part of. So mid 70s. So I have 22 family members that are either current or former military, so veterans. When a lot of them were coming back from Vietnam, we have massive PTSD issues in my family. We didn't know it was PTSD back then, obviously, right? We had no idea. Looking back, when you have your uncles who dive behind a couch and chair or in a bush when, helicopters are flying over, there's obviously some PTSD there, right? So weed was smoked in my family on a daily basis. It was always normal. I don't remember any time in my life that it wasn't around. So family and friends come over, just everyone's consuming. It's just how it is. The kids were everywhere. Nobody cared. It wasn't a big deal.
Did you grow up in Atlanta?
Say again?
Did you grow up in Atlanta as well?
No, I'm from St. Louis originally. I spent the first 10 years of my life there. Yep. And again, large military family, whether I, as a kid, realized what that meant. And a lot of times I don't think I did. I also grew up with an Indigenous stepfather for 9 years, and he was a consumer. And let's just say I saw some plants around the house. I ended up putting myself or helping to pay for my school going to college by running pounds from Atlanta, Georgia down to Georgia Southern University for years. So, and became a daily consumer in 1995.
How'd you get
so
your hands on the
everything,
pounds?
say again?
How'd you get your hands on the pounds?
We had connections in Atlanta. So I had a couple, I still have a couple of growers.
All indoor, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. But a lot of it was coming from other places, and the mids and kind bud was definitely coming from other places. There was not any weight that you could truly find from growers here unless you really knew someone. And it was all attic or basement, those types of things. Right. And it still is, but it's gotten better. So anyway.
Sorry, I had to ask.
No, it's all good. So after school, I ended up, and so really all the way up through college, weed was always a part of my life, and it was always normalized. And I call it weed because that's just what it is. I know everybody likes to call it cannabis, or some people shit on the word marijuana, which is fucking ridiculous. So, anyway, or pot or grass, or I don't care what you call it. I'm not a word police around here. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We're open to everyone, and cannabis culture welcomes us all. Like, I believe that shit, right?
Yeah.
Being judgmental is a punk move. We don't do that kind of crap. So anyway, it's been a part of my life since I've always been here. I've never not had it around. Ended up going into after school and actually did graduate from school. I'm not dumb, even though I've been a stoner since 1995, always been active, all of that stuff. Graduated, ended up going into corporate world for 14 years, which was absolutely terrible for me. And it just destroyed me in every way. And I hated everything about myself. And I lived that dichotomy, right, that most of us sort of have to play along with, where we put on a suit. We went to college, so we want to put on a suit and go make some fucking money, but we have to pretend we're someone else and pretend that we like stuff. Yep. And like doing stuff for other people. And that's just not who I am ever. I've always been a creative. I've always been in bands. I've always played multiple instruments. I paint. I do some drawing. Blah. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Yeah. Drawing. If I could draw, like please.
Suffocating you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was awful. So I ended up getting shit canned from my last job in 2018, my last real job in 2018. And my best friend happens to be one of the greatest filmmakers in the world. He brought me into the film industry here in Atlanta, which is one of the biggest in the world, just behind LA. We fight with New York. And I got to work on some of probably the dopest things I could ever think of about, on working on, and with some of the coolest people that I could ever want to work with. They were all extremely creative and knowledgeable, and showed me that I could actually use my creativity to make money in this world. And I never had any idea how to do that before. Yeah. Pandemic hit. I saw my chance to step into the legal side of the industry. I'd always been on the legacy or traditional, whatever you want to call it, side. As soon as I stepped in, I realized that, holy shit, like my knowledge, my family history, my passion, my consumption, my belief of the plant, the love of the plant, the respect of our culture and the community around it, bringing in my corporate knowledge, putting my own spin on all of that and kind of combining it and bridging some stuff.
Yep.
It allowed me to build a voice. Mm-hmm. I started to use my creativity one night, not kidding, on my phone. And I was like, that's kind of cool. It turned out to be one of the first covers that I ever released. I just released it because I was like, I want to talk to this network that I have growing here in a broader sense. Let me put some cool titles on this thing of stuff that we could talk about that could be articles inside of a magazine, but it's not. It's just a piece of creative that I'd made. It looked like a magazine. Fat Nugs just looked like a magazine. And that's how it started. I released it on a Friday. I called it Fat Nugs Friday, followed it up with the next one, and it just kept growing. And every time I released one, the reaction to it blew me away. I had no idea it would be like that. And so it's just kind of grown. And from there, it's been all about supporting community, because that's where I come from. I come from the military side of things. I come from poor people. I come from small communities that don't have much, that try really hard to do the right thing, to work, all of that kind of stuff. And it's just normal for me to be around those types of people, support those types of people. So we focus on small mom and pop, equity, legacy, women, and veteran-owned cannabis businesses and voices. It just makes sense. The real industry, by the way, that's the real industry. It's not corporate players who are stealing money from investors and losing billions of dollars every year. It's the small mom and pops, the small farmers. Those are the ones that are the backbone of the community. Why not support them and truly do so? There were some gaps that people were showing me as I was building this thing that we have in the industry, and we fit perfectly within those gaps. So it just makes sense. The team that I have here, when you say Fat Nugs, you either smile, smirk, you get people that laugh at you. I've had people laugh in my face. But the one thing it does is it sort of takes you off guard. But it also is kind of it's always almost a bro-y kind of name, Fat Nugs. And it's almost, right?
Almost. It comes from our time, I feel.
It is. It's from our like vernacular. That's a fat sack. That's a fat joint. That's a fat blunt. Those are Fat Nugs. That's just fucking what we say.
Yep.
It's so normal.
Yep.
But when you add a badass team of women to this thing, what it does is take that harsh part of the Fat Nugs that people might laugh at, and they look at the team that's building this and they're like, oh, they're not fucking around. It's serious. We bring in real journalism, real artwork. We talk about things that people love to talk about. We ask our writers to write about the things that they love, that they're passionate about, and that's it. Sometimes I ask if someone wants to do an interview, but most of the time, when I create, or we as a team create what the next edition is going to be about, we then say, hey, writers, this is what we're going to do. If y'all want to be a part, let us know. And we kind of go like that. So everything we do here, it's a global perspective of cannabis and stoner culture as a bridge to the rest of the world. That's how I describe it. That's exactly what we do. I can talk to you. We can talk to you through these fucking magazines. That's not a problem. What we also want to do is not only pull you in, yes, because you know and love weed. That's why we're here. You know and love cannabis. You love this plant. But we also want to talk to the people. This is the bridge part, that may not understand our culture, our community, what we're doing in this industry, what we're truly up against, all of that stuff. And we want to be able to talk to them in a way that's very personal. So science and education is absolutely something we do, but we always try to do things very running with a personal thing through those stories that we release, because that's how we connect with those people. We say we can talk science and education until we're blue in the face. Yeah. But as soon as you throw in my 2-year-old at home takes a broad spectrum product at night to control their seizures, or my 89-year-old grandmother smokes a fat ass blunt sitting in a rocking chair because of her rheumatoid arthritis, that's when you have them. That's when we win. Yep. That's when we connect. So that's what we're doing here. There you go.
I can not say thank you enough, because I feel the same way. And I think with you guys having a lot of success, it comes with the organic, authentic background that each one of you guys have in the industry. So you're not spitting bullshit, so it makes it easier. You're not memorizing lines because it's been part of your life for so long. So the work, you can feel that through people's work. And I think eventually, though our market's really big and it's flooded with all types of different people, I think that's going to show, and it's going to weed out some of the people that don't belong here because they're not authentic about their intentions of being in this space. So I can appreciate everything that you guys do and everything that you guys highlight. I know you kind of touched on this a little bit as far as your service to the community. Tell us a little bit about why you decided. I mean, the majority of the women on your team is made of women. I know 3 of them out of how many do you have now on your team? Because they're growing. I want to say you're growing every quarter.
We've had some influx and outflux of people because we aren't making any money here. As a publication, when we bring in money, it's to print. That's what we spend our money on at this point. It's a slow growth, and I'm not worried about it. We do other things that will bring in dollars eventually. But We have, let's see. So our art director has been Rebecca Jenks, absolutely amazing at what she does. Not only that, on the business side as well. And I tend to, and let me answer your first question overall. Why women? I think that's why you said that. Well, it just makes sense. It's also like why the rainbow logo. It all sort of interconnects. It's respecting the people that got us here. Think about that, right? It's respecting the plant. Think about that as well, right? The part that we smoke and consume, right? It's also a pretty much male dominated space most of the time, right? I think we all know that. So I think the more opportunities that we can have something like a Fat Nugs represent more than just the norm, or in which most of us may have been fed a lot of our lives and not realized it. Let's call it something like that. Just break out of the norm just a little bit, something different. Now we have men here too, obviously, and we're equal opportunity here. I think that's inclusive is what that's called. But I think having people that are leading teams that truly believe in what we're doing is first and foremost. And the women that I have here care about that. They care about this industry. They care about what they're bringing into the industry. They care about the things that we fucking support. It's that kind of stuff. They care about quality. They care about journalism. They care about stories, people, art. When you have people here, and I don't care what you are, I don't care if you're a dog, if you can create here with me because of those things, because you care about that stuff, bring it. That's what I care about. And that's what we do. That's why we have a female-led team here. And I defer to them probably more than they want me to.
You do a great job about highlighting them. I watch your work. I follow them as well, and you guys do a great work about supporting one another's work. And that's another thing that isn't always found in a team environment. And I think that creates more momentum as a team. And you guys are going to go really forward with that.
You nailed something so important here. And it's something that we talk about. One of the things that makes us different as a team. And it goes beyond the support. It's like blitz. We do blitzes here of things where we're constantly uplifting someone in the community, uplifting each other within the team in some way, uplifting our advertisers, the people that are supporting us, sponsors, whatever it is. I call it like, let's do our blitz, that kind of stuff. And it's to push things that we love. Since we do things positive and uplifting here, helpful, supportive, that's one of our taglines. That's sort of, the whole cannabis culture welcomes us all thing is a very positive thing. That's what we focus on. Those are the things that people are connecting with, and being able to do that and bring some unheavy things to this industry in ways that also teach and educate in some way, share something scientific, all of that stuff. All of this matters. It's all connected. So doing it the right way matters.
Talking about your solid team and all the great work that you guys do. And I love that you said that, because I think that's where open conversations like this is easy to educate people. Picking up that magazine in maybe a random coffee shop or my hairdresser's where I left them. Somebody random that may not be open to cannabis may pick that up, and you're going to most likely open their mind in some way. Maybe it's, understanding it a little bit more. The diversity that comes in your magazine is going to be awesome. Seeing who the authors are and who's behind it is going to really show how different our industry is. And it's not the typical what you're seeing that was advertised for propaganda reasons, anything like that. So
yeah, for sure. And a lot of that comes from my life. Like I have very strong women in my family. I have a very, very large family. And a lot of I have twin sisters in my life. I have my partner, Cecily. She's helped this magazine get to where it is. If I don't honor the women in my life, I'm doing a disservice to myself and to them and to the plant. to our community overall. It just makes sense to have a diverse team as much as possible, whether that be, men, women, LGBTQ plus, Black, white, Hispanic, Indian, Canadian. I don't care what, anyone and everyone. Again, bring your passion and love. That's what I care about. I think that's what our whole team cares about.
Yeah.
And we'll do anything and everything we can to push. Just wait until you see the next one. Wait till you see the lineup that we have. It's completely different because you mentioned a lot of times we highlight a lot of women. That's all we've actually highlighted here, except for maybe a couple of times.
Yeah.
We're doing something a little bit different in the next one.
Yeah, I will have to keep our eye out. We'll definitely be linking all of that in here. Before we let you go, you're going to be my guinea pig for this. And it's only because I wanted to add this. It's just a little fun, like rapid fire. I call them 7 grams just because it makes sense.
Oh, Jesus.
So 1 word, 1 sentence only, and then we'll wrap it up and let you go for your Friday. Okay. Do you need
let me light my joint for this.
Let
me light my joint.
One after this.
Good. I'm hearing in the background it dun, 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 dun,
I should be playing that. Okay, Dustin, are you ready? We're gonna go 7 grams in. It's just 1 word, 1 answer or 1 sentence. So the first one is going to be introvert or extrovert.
Ambivert.
Oh, okay. What is that?
It's a combination of two and from what I've read and been seeing here lately, I know we're supposed to be keeping this short. An ambivert is someone like people that are good leaders are people that take on, like, have empathy, that take on people's stuff. They have compassion. They give, right? So that means they need to sit back and recharge as well and not be around people. So it's a combination of both. You're outgoing and stuff, but it tends to drain you. Yeah. So you need to have your time. That's kind of how it's been explained to me. We don't mind being out there if we need to, but we might also rather be sitting on the couch with a joint by ourselves.
Okay. I'll have to share that with my husband because I'm like, you're kind of like in the middle. I can't.
Ambivert.
Yeah. And he's very much in the creative artistic mindset to where he can appreciate his time alone. Okay. Number 2, yoga or weightlifting. I think I know
weightlifting. We know that one.
Afghani or Jack Herrera.
Ooh, Jack Herrera.
Ooh. Number 4, hardcover book or an audiobook?
Ooh, hardcover. Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah. I'm going back to that. This year I started doing hardcover books instead of audio.
I find that I tend to drift. If I'm not focused, I drift. So
yeah, I want to say it makes me an active reader.
Yes. So I did try this one time, which is audio while I was reading with.
Oh, okay.
It didn't last long, but
I was going to say, it may still make me doze off. I do realize that. So we got hardcover book for that one. Sun-grown or indoor flower?
Sun-grown, but indoor is always pretty. It depends on, okay. I'm sorry. Right? If I was here, let me restate this.
That's a hard one.
all things being equal, I will always go outdoor. Always.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and you have to remember where I am in the US, I don't get it here ever. It's very rare. And when I did, I was able to get my hands on some Doc Ray. Amazing stuff. But we just don't have it here in any good quality whatsoever when it comes to outdoor. So I'm always used to seeing indoor. But when I do get my hands on great outdoor, and trust me, I know that you get a better profile, both terpene and cannabinoid profile, always from quality sun-grown. Trust me.
Blows me away. And last 2, what brings you the most joy in life?
Wow. I mean, besides weed and music, I think it's freedom. The freedom to know that I can get up and do the things that I love to do, and I'm producing it behind me. I think has taken over my life over the past, year and a half or so. And it's turned my life completely around. So knowing that this plant that I've always been around my entire life, I've never not been without it, has served me in so many ways. And it's now brought me to the happiest place I've ever been in my fucking life. So There you go.
Yes, I love that. That's a great answer. The AI, I mean, I know it's it's not really new. I mean, people are barely tapping into that thing, and there's people who have their pros and cons about it, but the
Mhm.
way you guys are using it, I think is extremely different. And I love,
Yeah.
love everything that you guys project.
Thank you. So, first of all, our art is a combination of several different things. It's not only AI. It's very rare that we put out something that's just AI. If it has anything to do with the magazine itself, there are extra things that go in there. There are extra pieces of digital art that we are placing, taking things away, adding things, coloring, smoke, all kinds of stuff to create the things that we do. But starting with a basis, a lot of it, not all of it, starting with a basis of AI has allowed us to do things that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And it's a tool, right? It's a tool that you use as an artist. You have to understand art to begin with to be able to create AI that I believe
Yeah.
that is compelling enough to have people follow it, buy it, want to see it, purchase it, whatever you know what I mean?
Yep.
Taking the next step with it. It's just a tool. And I know that a lot of people have their issues with AI.
Yeah.
And there are certain parts of AI like Chat GPT and writing things that we don't allow here. But when it comes to art, I do think it's a pure tool that when wielded correctly, whatever that correct may be, I know what's correct here. I don't know what's correct for everyone else, but what we do is just use it as a tool that we use amongst everything else that we have here, whether that's Photoshop or PixArt or InShot or anything else that we're using to build all the things that we're building. So using AI has been game changing, and it's something different because I think most of the time, and we still do use photos. We've had drawings in here. We've had, regular art pieces, all of that stuff. So we do a combination of all of that. And I wouldn't want it all just one or the other, because that steals some of what we do here, some of the differentiator of who we are.
Yeah.
So having a combination of real photos, AI, digital art, all of that stuff is why we're able to create sort of that ethos that we are able to create. So everything you see on there is a combination of all of that.
I like you guys are using it, and I couldn't agree more. It's a tool you can take from it, and not you don't have to use it, but you could definitely elevate, I think, your business if you can learn how to use it to elevate, whatever it is that is lacking for whatever reason.
Yeah, and what's really cool is everybody here on the team, they all have accounts to use and create and freedom to create here. We do have sort of a system in place to make sure that what we're putting out is solid and quality. Yeah. But we're all free to create here. That's what's really cool. And all of us do. We all have folders upon folders that we can go into and pull from, because we've all just been creating and putting stuff in to sort of our repertoire, so to speak, that we can pull from. It's really cool. And everybody has their own unique flavor, which makes it even more cool. Because when we don't know what the hell we're going to be writing about, or sometimes, I get these creative things, and all of us do, where I'm like, I would love to have an article about blah, or, hey, Melanie, guess what? Melanie Rizzo Smith, our editor in chief, I'll say, hey, this guy, meet Melanie. He's going to write something, that's going to be like that. And so all of us can have an opportunity to create something for that. We create a cover when we release an article, most of the time. And then we have photos and stuff that our writers send in along with their pieces. So again, we're mixing and matching and doing all that kind of stuff.
How do you guys pick on who's gonna like, okay, your pieces are gonna go in on, it just makes sense on what you guys decided for the theme?
So the themes, we have theme folders. I'm not going to lie. If I spread out our folders, there's probably close to 50 plus folders of different themes that we have. And that's what we do. And again, everyone can be creating here if it fits. Nobody cares. None of us have an ego here. We all pretty much just work and do our thing, and we all kind of cross over and do other jobs and jump in where we can and help. And It's unfortunate at times because I'm sure my team probably wants to kill me, but it's us being flexible like that has been everything. And really the entire team is, it's really cool to have people here that are super creative.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that, and that you created a team that has the same love for the same vision that you have as far as where you guys want to take it as a whole. Not, when I think somebody builds out a brand and creates something like that, I think they have to take a look at each individual, because each one of them have their own individuality. Because I could have Melanie and you here at once, but I want to highlight her as a woman, as an individual in the space. So a lot
She
of
deserves it.
that's how I see it. And I think you do a great job about making sure they have their freedom as artists. And that's going to go a long way.
They are the leaders here. And I tell them, and as much as I interject at times, and I try not to, I talk way too much during our team calls, but for the most part, everyone knows that Melanie and Lindsay have control of all editorial things that come out of this magazine. And I say that over and over again. It's not me. I don't do the final anything. It's them. On the art side, I am sort of stepping in that role again of making sure that our art that's coming out is going to be solid and stuff. But for the most part, Rebecca, Isabella, Casey, and myself, we're on that art side. And they are in charge. Rebecca has been in charge. Isabella, it will now be in charge. She's the associate art director here, which is super dope. I love Isabella. And Casey being able to sort of bridge the gap between our two teams and do things on both sides and help everywhere. I mean, I got on a call with Casey and Isabella, was it yesterday? And we worked through a bunch of stuff on our website together. Right. And it's that kind of stuff. And that just makes everything really cool around here because everybody's open, everybody's fluid and flexible. We're all creative, and everybody has the same vision as to what we're trying to do in this space. So the team is super dope.
Yep. You guys are like one heart throb, just like moving along in the same flow, which makes business nice. And
I am lucky to be here.
Yeah, no, I would say the same thing. I feel privileged that I'm able to do this, have a platform to use our voice or my voice as a woman, as a mom, as a, inspiring entrepreneur. But mainly it's because it's been part of my life. It's always been something that's kept me motivated and keep moving forward towards my goal, and has never hindered me from being athletic. I did bodybuilding, and so why not share it with everybody and really try to educate as organic as possible. So thank you so much for sharing everything that you've shared with us today. Where can we support you?
Oh gosh. Fat Nugs Magazine's on LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think you can always reach out to me at dustin@fatnugsmag.com. That's my email. You're more than welcome to have that. And I think that's pretty much it. Always go to our website as well, fatnugsmag.com.
Yep. Make sure you guys sign up for the newsletters. Those things are amazing.
Yes. Oh, the one that came out today, by the way, it was so nice. I can't wait to go back in and look at it. I just saw the first couple pages and I was like, oh, it's so cool. I can't wait to go look at it again.
Yeah, I mean, the digital work itself, it's like, I'm always like touching it. It's like, wow, like you guys do great. Kick-ass. I mean, I don't maybe faded as fuck, but you guys do a kick-ass job.
Hey, I love it.
Thank you again, Dustin. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything that you do for our community and using your guys' voice and platform. Again, guys, Rich Soil Podcast. This is Dustin. Make sure you guys follow him on Instagram and on LinkedIn, Fat Nugs Magazine.